Call the meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, June 22nd. We're here for our regular monthly meeting. We're going to stand for a moment of silence, followed by the pledge of allegiance. Thank you. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we call the roll, please.
Mayor Patrick.
Here.
Mr. Pollock.
Here.
Mr. Smith.
Here.
Ms. Call.
Here.
Mr. Key.
Here. We have one set of minutes from June 8th under our consent agenda. If there are no corrections or additions, is there a motion to approve by consent?
Make a motion to approve minutes by consent.
Got a motion second. Any opposition? Let the record reflect 5-0. Next on our agenda is the citizens' comment section. If there's an agenda item, please reserve your comments for that item. If not, the floor is open for citizen comments. Yes, sir.
I need to state my name.
We got your picture.
You got, I figured. So on behalf of the Gollywalker Classic, I am here representing my 3 other partners. We would like to thank the city for all of their help in getting our tournament set up, as well as ensuring that it went smoothly. Unfortunately, the city couldn't calm the seas, but we still had a great turnout with 45 votes who entered the event and around 21 who actually came in and weighed in. So all in all, it was a great tournament, and we paid out over $11,000 in cash prizes. And a big thanks to Tom and his crew for helping us relocate our tournament area due to some unknown construction that was taking place. But we are grateful for the city and all of their continued support in this event. And that's all I have.
Well, thank you for those kind words.
Yes,
Can you believe this?
that's it. Unless you have any questions.
No.
Okay, then.
When are you moving in?
Waiting on Consolidated to hook us up with phone and internet. And then some minor punch lists from Bondic. But other than that, we're ready. I beat you, Jerry.
All right, any other citizens' comments?
Just keep going.
All right, moving on to department reports. Number 1 or A is financial.
Either Debbie.
Good morning.
Yes, everybody has a copy of the report.
Not a lot has changed as far as the expenditures and revenues, with the exception of property tax. Through May, we've collected everything from $114,000. I got another $40,000 in the other day, so that leaves us with a balance to collect of $75,000. So we're much better off, and I think we're probably going to meet, or maybe even exceed a little bit, the property tax revenues. Currently still working on reclassing all the hurricane micro expenditures for, there's 2 fiscal years involved, so it's taking quite a bit because I'm getting an audit prep for those in fiscal year 20, and I'm trying to get ahead of it in 21 before the next audit starts. Again, the cash balance is a little fluctuation because of the reimbursement. It's down from the last report I gave you, but that's just because of the FEMA payments and then the reimbursement. And then as far as the tax that I'm continuing to do, October 2020 is still in process. It's because I'm devoting most of my time into the audit prep and the budget prep. And then we're currently working on the 2022 budget. The documented budget, proposed budget, has been completed with the exception of like personal services,
You doing good?
Well,
Debbie, what is this?
I'll be current.
I don't know what page, or how far along are you in this report? The cash report, are you, on the cash report, what about those water and sewer funds?
Water sewer fund?
Funds.
Funds,
Oh, I'm sorry. There is the cash balance, is what you're referring to?
yeah, I'm looking in the cash report.
Right, yeah, they're in a deficit. So, what's happening is the, capital replacement funds and then the general fund is, subsidizing the cost. And so that's part of that, findings in the audit is that, we got to overcome and we're gonna have to reclass some of those, FEMA costs back to the water and sewer fund. That's part of that FEMA reconciliation that I'm doing.
Mayor, what happens is whenever there was a project that was specific to the sewer, it got charged to the sewer department. But the FEMA is where the money's coming from. So until she reclassifies that from the sewer fund to the FEMA capital project, we're gonna be in the deficit. But it's a math thing right now. It's
Okay,
not that we
I
have
got you. Well, I knew it had to do something with FEMA. The size of those numbers couldn't just come from our day-to-day operations.
No.
Right?
Okay, I got you. And you haven't done that yet.
It's in process, right?
Right.
It'll look better at the end of fiscal 2020, completion, ready for the audit. You'll see those numbers change. And then again, they'll change even better when the 2021, budget, or not
Okay.
budget, but, audit starts where all those resources are going to take place.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
Any other questions? Add this to. Debbie, some of this information will we need this is a good thing to hang on to for our budget workshop, correct?
Right, yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Sandy?
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
A few months ago, I applied for a number of grants, of which two have come through. One will help us replace some of the LVH on the engine that was damaged during and after the storm due to the fact it was parked outside for so long. So we're going to be able to replace that at very little cost to the city. I'm waiting, hopefully today I'm going to get the reply on a grant that I've been told we have, but haven't got it on paper yet, which will enable us to get that new surf rescue launch line. They will enable us to get a foldable device out to somebody that was in the water that would save a first responder having to go in first if it was unnecessary or if there wasn't backup. That I should hear about today. And there is one more small grant that's out there, but we're just waiting to hear what's happening with that one. As far as day to day, we're doing beach patrols daily. Obviously not on days like today, but normally things are very busy on the beach now. Weekends are extremely busy. Thankfully, there is no significant report as far as injuries or medicals and so on and so forth in that respect. But we are getting busier and busier as the summer heats up, and we look forward to a good and peaceful summer for everybody. So at the moment, that's it. I will keep you posted on the third grant when it happens. Oh, and one other thing, sorry, I did actually apply for an extension on the grant that we got from the state for retrofit the fire station. We still had some funds left at the bottom of that. They want us to spend that on basically more stuff for the fire department, as in equipment and so on and so forth. So we're updating stuff that's very old and or not at perfect working standards. So that'll enable the fire department to be again back to better than it was pre-storm, thanks to those funds. So I'm working on that at the moment as well.
Sandy, further. One thing I've always liked looking into, a Jaws alive.
Yes, sir.
Have we got it?
So yeah, Post-storm, I did a grant application to the subway grant, fire hydrant sub grant, and we got a brand new set of cutters, spreaders, and a ram for $37,000 free to the city through that grant. So yes, we have the latest and greatest sitting in that mini bunker right outside the door.
Great. To me, that's one of the best things we could have around here.
No, agreed. And the great thing about that one, we still have our older set down in the engine as well. So we have two sets. Should anything happen to one or other, we have backups, which we didn't have before. We only had one gas-powered plant, and should that not start for some reason, you would be in difficulty. So this is it's a significant step up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Police report?
Lachlan, everything's been run smoothly. Hasn't encountered any problems in the last few weeks and everything, and don't have a whole lot to report on.
Okay. Gina?
Building department's been going smooth. A little bit of a slowdown. I'm not sure why, but we've permitted 10 residential structures this month, which is a little bit less than what we've been doing. We're up to 241 since the storm and 18 commercials. So that's about it.
That's busy for us, even with the storm.
That is very, very good.
There's a lot going on. Thank you, Gina. Kathy?
Good morning. So far, we have several lots have been cleared: Azalea, Arizona, and 15th in California. We've got those pretty much all cleared off now. House was demoed over on Pine Street. People are calling every day wanting to know if there's anything else that they can be doing. And I saw Jerry Clark that owns over there on the highway that's still there.
Cove?
Yeah. I saw them over there working around on their building the other day. So I haven't talked to them. I meant to stop by, and by the time I got back down there, they were gone.
How are we set up now with our special master? Have we reviewed those? We talked about those two. We approved them. Well, we were going to look into what it would cost. But the two, your Welcome Center and the. I think you said the special master report proved that we could move forward. Did I hear that? Am I?
Yeah. We also we're doing a title search right now to ensure that we don't have mortgages on those properties, because we would need to notify the mortgagees before proceeding with demolition. We've got a draft prepared of the request for bids for the demolition. We're just finalizing that. We'll get that out soon. And we're going to just do one more notice before we would proceed to demolition, but it's all moving along.
Okay. But one more notice means how long was that need? 2 weeks, 2 months, month, 30 days?
Well,
One more notice.
the real delay right now is we're waiting on the title search. Usually a title search takes about a week. Right now they're taking longer because there's so much real estate volume. And that's just to ensure that we don't have a Bank of America or Wells Fargo out there that would dispute something about us proceeding with demolition. Don't imagine we do, given the type of structure it is. But it's a step we need to take still.
Okay, so maybe by our next meeting, when were we going to get the bids? How long were we?
We should be able to advertise that this week, and I think we typically, what have we been allowing in general? 2 weeks. Okay. Response time.
Well, Mark, put that on your next week, next month, next meeting notes to give us a report where we are. So we don't have to remember that. It'll be okay. Any questions for code? I don't know if this is code or police. What about our dog situation? How are we handling that?
Dogs on the beach?
Dogs on the beach. We talked about, I think it was last meeting, the service dog issue that came up about, I think y'all all saw the email from that gentleman, how he applied for having one in less than 5 minutes. Got a permit. How do we do that? Marty, can you help us? How does that work?
Basically, if we get a call on it, we make contact with the people down on the beach. And there's only a few questions that we can ask as far as service dogs, question related. We can't ask them what their problem is, or all we can, we've got a listing in a paper and everything of what we can do. And if they do not get off the beach and everything, we can go under a violation.
So we can ask them.
It's a case-by-case basis on it, and more times than less, they're service dogs. Except this emotional support dogs are not the same as a service dog.
That's how they get you about that. The emotional support
Oh, okay.
is different than a service dog.
But we have a listing from the ADA, from the U.S. Department of whatever, that, what questions you can ask and what all you can do. There's a service homing that you can have. It's all kinds of stuff that you can have on the beach.
You can have turkeys. Something makes you. I'm serious. I checked into it for that. I don't think there's but 2 questions they can really ask them, and that's it. I mean, and you violate.
But you respond and ask them to please leave the beach.
If we get a call, and you can usually, by asking those questions, you can find out just exactly how much they know about service dogs.
I got you.
And that's what we have to do.
Because that continues to be
It's
a complaint that I get.
And
I'm sure
we're trying to be down there early in the mornings and stuff like that, when the majority of them is and everything, because during the daytime, I was out there on the beach during Memorial Day. There was not a dog on the beach. And I rode that beach for, 8 hours.
Well, when there's a lot of people on the beach, they probably won't take it that day because they'll get too many people complaining about it.
And it's the worst time of day.
And it's
absolutely.
Okay. All right, it sounds like then we do have a plan better than we.
We've got papers issued out. The fire department has them also, and
Okay.
we can ask the questions, and we'll go from there. And I've been talking with Panama City Beach because they have a bigger beach than we do, and it's a problem with them too. But once you make contact and you ask questions and stuff like that,
You get it. Great. All right. Thanks. Tom.
Morning, Mayor, Council. First, I'll give you an update on our dredging. We're still dredging 2 days a week because it's turtle season. This past weekend, we had the tropical storm come through. Had a lot of sand that was placed down on the canal area. Luckily, because of the west side being done, we did not lose the usability of the canal. It is still open. Troy and Nick are dredging now to clean the west side back up and on the east side. So, thanks to their effort, if it hadn't been, you could have walked across the end of it. That's how much sand we had moved, but luckily the canal's still open for business. Cutting grass throughout the city as usual. Want to give you an update on the canal itself. Current Solutions is just about through putting the new power station in down there and all, so hopefully we're going to have that finished before long. We'll have power back on there. We have water down there now, but we'll have the power line put back on, so they're getting really close on that. Boat ramp, we got the line done before snapper season started, so that worked out really good. We were able to get a lot of boat trailers and boats parked down there, so that extension's really made a big difference on the canal. I did get the signs in this past week for to go in front of all the walkovers, no parking signs. Had a lot of people that's actually parking in front of all our walkovers, and people can't access the walkovers, so we're going to get those up. That'll help some. Also, want to give an update on the rain. The last couple of days, everybody knows we had a lot of rain. We had a lot of stormwater issues throughout the city. I've got all my crews working on those. We made progress from the last rain event we had. Some of those issues we did alleviate. Now we've got some new ones. So I just ask everybody to be patient. If you got a problem, give me a call. We'll get a crew to come out and look at it and see if we can get those issues resolved. Last thing we want anybody's house to flood, so that's a major priority. Try to keep people's houses from getting water down. Give you an update. Oh, and we got 4th of July coming up. The city will be working with Miss Kimberly for whatever needs they need until our 4th of July goes off good. Other than that, sanitation, we had one sanitation worker that's quit and left, and we hired another one. His name is Corey Calloway. He was one of our QLM workers that we had. Really good guy. If y'all see him, welcome him to the city. So far, he's doing a good job. He come in just in time to get in the rain. So he's been out, getting broke in just right. Garbage, we had so far this month, we've already had 193,700 pounds of trash taken over to the landfill, and we're about halfway through the month, so it's going to be a big month on trash. A lot of people in the city. So other than that, we're just doing normal stuff to keep the city running. Right now, it's mainly all stormwater.
What's the status on the ditch bucket?
Ditch bucket's on the way. I ordered it. We should have that in about, hopefully, 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. As soon as we get it, I promise you, it's going to go to work. We've got a lot of ditches right now we need to get cleaned out and scoped out. So when we get that, we'll get started on all the ditches.
Thank you, Tom.
Any other questions?
Thanks, Tom.
How about my question? How about my
Mr. Smith, what do you have? The signs.
The street signs.
July 9th. I'm not backing off July 9th. July 9th.
Write that down.
And I promise you, when those signs get here, I'm going to have every one of my guys in Public Works, girls and guys, we all, including myself, we're going to be putting street signs there. So we're going to get those signs put up just as soon as possible.
Write that down, huh?
That answers that question.
It's on the tape.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Thank you, Tom.
Utility, we got any utility?
Kevin said that he has he's out. I think Dr. Point said let everybody know that everything in the utility department is going good, other than the high water. He's fighting the high water in the lift stations right now, just like everybody else. With the rain, the stations are maintaining the current flow of water. So, and the problem with that is we have a lot of sewer stubs that are sticking up on vacant lots, and some of them get run over and broke off, and the rainwater runs into those, and we have a lot of extra water goes into the lift station. That's the reason we have all the problems when we have the big rains. The sanitation department is working on correcting that now. They're going around finding the ones that are broke off, digging the ones up that are broke under the dirt. They're capping those off, so that's helping. We've seen a difference since we had the rainstorm with Sandy. As of now, we've got less water now going in there than we did, so we are making progress with that. Other than that, Kevin said everything's going as usual.
Mayor, along the utility side, there was another segment of the CDBG DR grant, which means that there's more opportunities to do infrastructure type projects. So Kevin is currently working to put together a list. He has about 8 lift stations where the riser pipes are degraded to the point that they need to be replaced. So we're hopeful to get a larger project. Each one is about $20,000. So if we put together a $160,000 project, go after that through CDBG funds, we're hopeful to also be able to entice the contractors to come out here to do a little bit larger job. So that is something that we're working on as a team.
Also, Mayor, I mentioned on my department, we had one of our new palm trees at 8th Street. Since yesterday, we've had a lot of washout down there. I've got a crew down there now making sure that we don't lose any of that parking lot. We did lose one new palm tree, has been washed over. We just filling that in with dirt right now to try to stop the erosion. But got a lot of erosion down there around 8th Street because of all the rain.
Do you have any kind of update on the walkovers? I know Gina had to, has the contractor come in and got all their permits straight on the walkover stuff?
They have their permits, and there were some outstanding items. Some of those have been addressed. There's still some outstanding items remaining. So they have not addressed everything that was outstanding.
So we have not paid them yet?
Correct. Right. Update on the one there across from Killer Seafood that the pile fell on. The company that come in, they wanted that pick option. I told them they had 2 options if they wanted to repair it, and it was up to our standard. that was fine, or either the city would repair it and send them the bill. They had a crew come in and repaired that, and I went down and looked at it. You can't even tell it was hit. They did an excellent job putting it back, and we got that walkover road back up now.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Tom.
Yes, sir.
David, what you got?
Yes, sir. Good morning. Sunset Park, we have those plans out to bid. To date, we've had 14 requests for plans. So you should be getting, hopefully, a good bid. Those bids are due July 21st. So we have responded back to the DEP. They made a request for some additional information, pretty mild in nature. A letter from Gino's shop saying that they don't object to the project and some clarity on the plan. So I think we're looking good with them. Still have to hear back from the FWC as far as the lighting on the pavilion itself. Waiting to get back from them, but as far as the design goes, we should be in good shape. It's probably going to be more of a timing issue, just getting them the right permit. On the 15th Street box culvert, again, those plans are out to bid too. We've had 4 requests for plans. Those are opening as July 6th. And then the boat ramp extension, the design plans have been sent to the city, and I think the city just needs to secure funding through a grant. Mario and Dina were working on that. And then Daryl had asked me to bring up the 33rd Street, the drainage issue. I know that's further on the agenda. I don't know if you want to wait till then.
Yeah, we'll wait till then. Okay. Is the, and it's just because it's taking longer than my memory can keep up with, on the canal. Are we putting in the pavilion at the end? Is that part of this contract?
Yes, sir. There's a pavilion at the end of the canal, close to the Gulf, with a bathroom that is a trailer type bathroom, and then
That is part of.
Yes, sir.
At one time, we were going to pull that out and do it separate, but it's all in there.
It's all.
Okay. Good. Any questions for Dewberry?
Rick, when we got asked this, Rick, when they go start putting the pilings in that boat ramp for the pavilion and bathrooms, I mean, I asked you, so I thought I'd bring it up in here. Because we moved what we moved East Cleaning Station 4 then. And I thought they would fix the jump right on it, and I don't see anybody work.
Yeah, they told us, I believe it was beginning of last week, they were going to start doing it last week.
Maybe we need to contact them.
David Miller would be point of contact.
Oh, okay, I know that. I know that.
Jared, they did move the frame in this week, and some more pilings up there by the construction site, so.
But you know, we did move 3 weeks ago for them to pile in there, and so Miss Kimberly and us had to move everything, and I haven't seen any construction. You know, if we got to make us move, we need to make them move, so. But we can have it. Thank you. Thank you, Danny.
All right. Moving on. Our regular agenda items. Number 1 is the second reading of ordinance 763. This is authorizing the resolution that we can change the prices by resolution on our marina. Is there a motion to read by title only?
I make a motion we read ordinance 763 by title only.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Ms. Tammy, please read.
Ordinance 763, second reading. An ordinance of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, amending section 3306, 3312, and 3313 of the City Code to authorize all fees relating to Canal Park, the city boat ramp, and the city marina to be set and amended by resolution, providing for severability, codification, and an effective date.
Is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion we approve ordinance 763.
Second.
Motion and second. Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Patrick?
Yes.
Mr. Pollak?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Keith?
Yes.
Okay. And next is resolution 2127, number 2 on our regular agenda. And this is the fee schedule that we have discussed and adopted or approved.
This is a different fee schedule. After we did the resolution last meeting, Mario got with me and explained that at least for now, it would be better not to have any fees for the Mexico Beach Marina. The city's not leasing anything out there right now. The marina's being operated privately. And he also has to have the storage boxes removed from the fee schedule because that's something that the city's not doing right now. Otherwise, those fees are the same.
The numbers are the same, but the items that are going, that
We took 2 items off the list.
off the list. Okay? Is there a motion to read resolution 2127 by title only?
Make a motion, we read resolution 2127 by title only.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Please read.
Resolution 2127. A resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, eliminating fees for the Mexico Beach Marina and adjusting fees associated with Canal Park and the city boat ramp and providing an immediately effective date.
Is there a motion to adopt?
Make a motion, we approve resolution 2127.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Keith?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Moving to number 3. This is a request for the city to consent Bay County to approve utility services, Southwest Georgia Oil Service Station.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor and Council. I'm Darrell Boyette. I'm the maintenance director and the construction director with Southwest Georgia Oil Company. I just want to tell you a little bit about our company and what we're doing. I won't keep much of your time this morning, but I hope we can get a resolution to this utility issue. Southwest Georgia Oil is a family-owned business. We're headquartered in Bainbridge, Georgia. We operate a chain of convenience stores in Alabama, Florida, and Georgia. And as close as Fort St. Joe, we have a store. We're building our 3rd prototype, which is a 5,300 square foot store on the edge of Mexico Beach. Construction cost of $6 million. That's just for the construction. Store will offer grocery items. We'll have typical C-store items. We'll have all the gas offerings, including non-ethanol for recreational vehicles and diesel fuel. We'll have hot prepared daily foods. It'll have a good bit of grocery supplies in it, and of course any kind of supplies you could imagine at a convenience store. We've started construction. We're scheduled to complete construction in March of next year. With this said, we must have utilities. And I've been with this company now 24 years, and we've done a lot of development and have never been denied utilities in any unincorporated or incorporated area. And we need water, and we're going to need sewer, but we need water to proceed with construction. And we're actually in the process of getting a temporary well installed so we'll have water for construction. It's costing us thousands of dollars. And we're not here today to get you guys to overturn your decision to provide water and sewer, although we would be happy for you to do that. What we're requesting is that you give consent to Bay County to serve the Sunstop store. That you send the county a letter to that effect and help them with getting the service to the property. We respect your decision not to serve, but the fair thing to do is to allow the only other provider in the area of the county to serve the property. We're looking forward to bringing the Sunstop to Mexico Beach community. And we are newcomers to the beach. Our company has several of our board of directors own homes here in Mexico Beach, including the owner of this company. And we spend a lot of time here. I personally spend a lot of time here through the years. We will be good corporate citizens for Mexico Beach. I think we will provide a great service to Mexico Beach. And we just need your guys, we need you to help us get the utilities to the property. And so we can get on with construction and get the store opened up in a timely manner. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Right.
Citizens.
touched on by those comments, but a few meetings ago, the council had a request for the city to provide service to that location. It's a little bit outside the city. The council's decision was, yes, we'll provide service with an annexation occurring in that location. So the applicant spoke to Bay County after that, at the staff level, and got preliminary indications that Bay County would attempt to serve that area, but there's a lot of contracts between the city and the county, and they generally say that the city would need to consent to that. There are a few other steps required, but the main one would be that the city would need to consent to that because it's an area that is designed to be the city service area.
Yeah, well, the county is, or the applicant is asking us to consent. I think what's important, at least from my point of view, first of all, that there's only 2 pipes out there. One's a water line, one's a sewer line. The county has no pipes. The city, all of those utilities are in the Mexico Beach jurisdiction. So that the county, to ask us to consent to the county, all they would be using is our pipes. Which doesn't make any sense to me. One thing, sir, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you, in your comments about us denying you, can you tell us why you wouldn't want to annex into our city if you were going to support your business and our town, and you're building your business, as you just in your own words said that you would be a good neighbor to it? Well, why don't you want to be part of it?
Mr. Mayor, that's a decision made by the owners of the company. And
So you don't have, you're not aware of why they wouldn't want to do that?
I've got some speculation, but I do not know all what brought them to that decision.
Okay. Thank you. That's all.
But I can assure you, I've been with this company, I know what we do in other communities. We don't support Mexico Beach. And I'll be glad to
You
get
would
y'all.
support us if you don't pay any tax to the city. Okay?
We're going to support you regardless.
Like all of the rest of the city does.
There's other ways that we're able to support the city of Mexico Beach.
What would those ways be?
Okay, I'll give you some examples of what we do in other municipalities.
Just a minute. You don't have to answer any, you don't answer to the council.
I would be glad to do so, sir, if the council would like to hear that.
No, I don't have any other questions. You answered mine. Is there any others that want to comment?
So, those are our sewer pipes and our water line. And we paid to put those in.
We secured a bond to put those in. We installed them. We maintain them. We actually just paid to fix them. And not but 2-3 weeks ago, we were fixing a break within that line. We carry insurance on that, so everything from here all the way to Tyndall's plant where it's processed is city ownership.
Okay, so, and we're still paying on it, and we're going to be paying on it for quite a while.
Maintenance-wise and eventually replacement-wise, it's all up our nickel.
Well, I don't see how we're being mean, kind of the wrong word to use, or out of line by saying that we want those folks to annex. And when you said that you wanted to be a good corporate citizen would pay their taxes. And here's the thing for me that really bothers me about it is everybody that lives here and every other business that lives here pays taxes. And we're elected to represent those citizens, and so I can't imagine that those citizens are going to be happy with us if we let someone get around that without paying tax on it on a regular basis. I mean, that's what everyone else does here. Why would we let you do that if we don't let them do that? I mean, does that make sense to you?
I have my personal thoughts about it, sir. but that's not my decision to make for this time.
Well, okay. Okay. So, yes, sir.
If I may, Councilman, the folks across the street, Sugar Sands, are also.
Who are you, sir?
I'm sorry, my name is Jay Levia. I represent Southwest Georgia Oil. The folks across the street are outside of the city limits and are currently being served and have not annexed in, if I believe that is to be correct. A name of development is Sugar Sands. So we wouldn't be the first. I'm going to point that out to y'all.
Well, you know, what the council prior to us did is not something that we, well, first of all, I don't think this council would have allowed that to happen. It was that council, it was an old council, they're no longer here. And what we need to be careful of is there are other properties. So if we allow you to do what you want to do the way you want to do it, then we're essentially setting a precedent that says, hey, we don't have to annex. We can get around this just like Sugar Sands and just like the other gas station did. And we're not trying to be unreasonable, but what we are trying to do is we are trying to make our city sound financially. So any investment that we got, any infrastructure that we got, and especially are still paying for, we need to have revenues to pay for that. And with you guys allowing to use that without putting any revenues is not fair to the citizens of this city or anyone concerned here. So we're not trying to be unreasonable. And if there was a sewer line and a water line from Bay County, I wouldn't have any problem with them doing that, but they're not going to put you a sewer line and a water line all the way out there to service it. They're going to tie into ours. And we have an agreement with them that they can't do that unless we allow that. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to remain faithful and good to our citizens by being financially responsible, and that's what our decision is based on.
Okay. Are there others? Yes, sir.
I'm kind of echoing everything they say, but I feel like every citizen in this town would be glad to have you there.
Sure.
Y'all will be a great service to us. But you gotta realize, because of this town is the reason you're going there. Most of your business is gonna be through Mexico Beach, people coming here, people living here, people leaving here. People that, with your station, you'll be able to have for the boats and everything else that we don't have in this area right now, except at the marina. So you will be giving us a great service, but we will be giving you a great service and giving you our business. And all we ask is you help us out. That's
Okay. Floor is open for the table. Enough said. The request, just reading the way it's written, it's on the agenda for us to approve Bay County giving them consent to do that or deny it. It's that simple, right?
That's right.
If I'm reading the way it's written.
Just whether the city would consent to Bay County providing the service there. You just have a motion one way or the other.
Okay. So the motion is should be for or against allowing Bay County to service this property.
I make a motion, we deny the consent for Bay County to service utility service at 5300 East Highway 98.
I say.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other questions or comments? Okay, call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
All right, next, I put this on the agenda number 4, only because I guess I'm the only one that had background knowledge of what we did in September of 2018, which was less than 30 days before Michael. We had agreed to pave, and the documentation that you have just shows that we had agreed to pave the end. For some reason, I don't know why, back years ago, the street never got past the end lot. It just stopped short at the last lot property line. But anyway, we had agreed to pave 23rd and 33rd Street, that section, and I know that we are in the process of getting some paving done through the FEMA. I thought it might be a good time to go ahead and look at these two street ends. Like I said, we had the bids out, we've got the permits. Did you verify the permits are active?
When you called me Friday and mentioned the permits, first thing I did Monday morning was look up the DEP permits. They were to expire today. So I got permits extensions in yesterday.
Wow.
Because sometimes you're good or lucky. I don't know.
We just go buy a lottery ticket for it. All right, so I think the whole purpose of me putting that on there is that maybe this would be a good time to add those to our paving list, or see if we can incorporate them into our paving list. We promised those property owners that we would do that. That was part of the, like I said, it was all done except for mine. And I thought we'd bring that up to see if this council wants to move forward with that.
I met with Josh Baxley and his boss. I don't know, but I can't recall his name. Josh introduced him as his boss.
Josh has lots of balls.
That's pretty scary.
Just say Frank.
So the boss and Josh agreed. What happens out there at that road is it comes a couple of properties up, it comes on a proper grade and then dips off toward those last two lots and it falls off. And my question was to those guys, why does this dip off? Because what's happening now is since the new dunes were put in and the dunes were put up further than they were originally, and if you look on pictures of the old dunes, aerial pictures, between the dune and those lots in question at those road ends, there was a lower area, and you knew it was a lower area because it had dark settlement spots in it. And so what happened is when those roads were low, they still drained out into that area, and that area acted as a reservoir to kept it off the lots and until it could dissipate or soak through or whatever. And when the dunes were put back, that was not done the same way. So when I asked about how to fix the driveway that was in question for the Owls, they are the ones that told me what elevations to use there. And that's what their pavers are now. Their pavers are at the elevation to tie into the road because they said, yes, we need to take this little bit of, there's a little bit of asphalt, they can take the asphalt out, build up that road to the end of that property and put it on the proper grade, and that will help eliminate some of the issue. They were also going to tilt the road a little bit to the side, which would be the east side of the road, in order to make the water run that way so that it would be we would be able to route that water into an area, but we're going to have to lower behind the dunes a little bit, according to the way it was, to make some sort of reservoir.
Yeah, well, in the initial, going back now almost 3 years,
it was supposed to have been paved there.
It was paved, and then there was going to be some excavation done at the end of that street, but there was more room at the end of the street.
Correct.
Than there is now.
That's correct.
So the only thing that I would know, and this is not I don't have any degree in drainology, but it would seem in that sandy location, we may have to go in scoop out some of that backside of that dune.
Well, I think the dune, and I've looked at this a lot, and I've been grading for years all my career.
We've let them fix it.
And David's already, that's what David has gone out there to look for.
Yeah.
The problem that David says he's having is with the DEP or who.
It's the DEP. Y'all talk out, on Giro, y'all have to stay and I'll tell you what I found.
Okay, so I'm ready to hear what you found.
Yeah.
You want me to speak?
I don't know. Aren't we covering the subject for you?
Well, I kind of want to give. I'll tell y'all what I. So I'm Jason Alves, the boss, and my wife. We're owners of the 114 South 33rd Street. So the home there that's impacted. So everything that's been said, I agree with. That the road comes down, it ends prior to getting to our driveway. The water collects there. You know, it pools, and you know, I'm sorry for me being nervous, but we just had a little band go through, and every time it's not just some big rain, then we have an issue. I mean, there's pop-up storms that happen, and we have an issue. And when I mean we have an issue, water comes down off 98, comes all the way down the street, pools at the bottom. Some of it runs off currently into the neighbor on the east side, into that property, and then eventually when that fills, it'll continue to fill and then run into the back. I'll call it my backyard, even though it's not my property, and will flood my home. So this is not something to take lightly. I have to be home to deal with it. I've mitigated it. We flooded once, I should mention that. So we moved in about a year ago. We flooded. 2 months later, we flooded. And this home was under construction during the time of Michael. So as a lot of the citizens, we've been through a lot as well. So anyway, we continue to have that issue. And unless I'm home to mitigate it, I think I have a short-term solution, but that's only good as my pump and my strength at this point. And quite frankly, it's more than just an inconvenience. It's a stress. It keeps me up at night. You know, I was up at 5:30 this morning pumping. So, you know, everything that's been said is true, but I would just ask that we come up with a solution.
When you say flooded, what degree are you talking about?
Lower level floods.
Like your car tires when you park and...
And we've got a foyer area, storage area down there, slab. It'll come up the back, come in those flood vents.
Okay. So, yeah, if you look at the drainage maps, you go back several blocks and it's running down 98. It looks like right there at 33rd is the low point, so it's pulling some off 98. But if you go back pre-storm, pre his house, that lot is about elevation 8, and that is the lowest spot in the entire area. Everything drains to that lot. And if you look at some of the maps, the Bay County Property Appraiser map actually has a pretty good aerial. You can toggle between the different years. You can see, you can almost see where the water is flowing and it's hitting the backside of that dune, and it's ponding up right there in the center of that lot. So it's basically it was an issue that was going to happen.
So we were permitted pre-storm. We were at the elevation that was required based on the homes that were already built around us. So
we understand.
Okay.
We're trying to find what would be a common sense solution.
Thank you, sir.
That's what we're not questioning. The fact that it's the lowest point doesn't mean that we still can't try to work towards a solution.
Right. Okay. So now that the house is built, obviously it's filled in the low area where the water was, so it's shedding it off, and part of it is sitting right there in front of the house, in front of your driveway, and built up. Pre-storm, pre-house, yeah, it went to the toe of the dune. In the DEP dune, you got two sets of dunes. We just built it before. You've got a first dune, and then you've got a second dune. Well, it's called the first dune, the closest to 98. His lot line goes right up to it, and that looks like that was kind of the barrier where all the water kind of sat and infiltrated. We have, when we did the initial design for 33rd Street, we had infiltration tests done, and it infiltrates about 3 feet an hour. So it infiltrates pretty good. That's a pretty good rate. They estimate the high water about 3 foot down. What we can do now, I don't recommend doing the 33rd Street extension with the asphalt, because all you're doing is take away your pervious area. Adding the additional asphalt just makes the problem even worse. And in the design itself, it basically left the water where it's at now and waited for it to infiltrate in. I don't see a viable way to resolve this other than trying to put some infiltration box in, which is basically you taking the water, you put it into a box in the ground, and you're holding it until it infiltrates in. The problem with that is with such shifting sands, that box is going to be maintenance intensive. You're going to have to go out there and constantly clean that out so you get a volume-free water. Aside from a study to kind of look at what we can do, I don't really have a good answer as far as how to resolve it right now. I did see where the water is. As it ponds up, it does get to what was the house across the street. I mean, there's probably a ditch, probably a foot deep, where the water kind of flows into that. Now, his lot extends parallel with 33rd Street, so it goes all the way back to the dune. That lot across the street has some room in the back that's not developed that could do something with the stormwater, but we'd have to talk with that lot owner. I mean, short of the city buying a parcel out there and designate it for stormwater area, I don't know what to do right now.
David, for any options that involve modifying or digging out the dune, do you have any perspective on DEP as the permitting agency and FEMA as the funding agency, how to accomplish that?
I don't think we're going to have a whole lot of success with DEP. I mean, one of their restrictions is direct discharge into the dune area, obviously because it has the potential to create erosion, sand erosion, beach erosion. So I don't think we're going to be successful with that. I have not asked them, but if I was a bet man, I bet we wouldn't get approved.
But we're not asking to cut through that second dune. We're just saying that we need to have a reservoir area behind that outside dune.
That would be back on personal lots.
No. I'm saying that, there used to be a crosswalk. There was a sort of a crosswalk there.
Well, we'll do this. Why don't we recognize we have an issue. I will say for the record that I'm disappointed now that we went through all this to get all these permits and now we recommend that we don't do it. You didn't. Let's be clear with that.
Yeah.
But now that we don't recommend doing it, I guess the same is true for 23rd Street now. I don't know.
I haven't looked at 23rd Street.
Okay. Well, they're not here fussing at us about the water problem, so that's not a big issue right there. But I think 33rd Street, there is a definite need to look at that, knowing that the city has no, I agree with you. Putting something in that's heavy maintenance is ridiculous because we couldn't maintain it at a rate that it would require. Can we task Dewberry to give us a somewhat of a reasonable fix for this property owner who needs? I mean, it's pretty obvious it needs some help. It's not, but this is a problem.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely look at it. And yesterday I was out and I saw your sump pump sitting up.
No, it's not bumped. I could manually do it.
Okay. Yeah. Pump. I saw it sitting out, and there wasn't any water. And I went over to 32nd and 34th, and they both had water standing at the same locations. So whatever we do here, I would expect that every other street's going to catch on and want that done as well.
Okay. Well,
they're not flooding.
I don't know that that's. I'd like to see us address what is applicable to 33rd Street.
Right.
In light of that, we thought that if it hadn't been for Michael, that would have been paid, and now all of a sudden we don't want. And I'm okay with that. I just want us to see what we can get done.
Right.
Okay.
That
Is that fair enough?
address your issue.
Okay.
Yeah, you would have if you would have paid before Michael and the house was built, you'd still be sitting there talking, having the same conversation.
Okay. I won't deny that, but and I don't want to throw anybody under the bus here. I just want us to find out a solution to, like for you to look at that for us and bring us something that makes sense. Okay. Fair enough with everybody? Move on. Okay. All right. Number 6. No, excuse me, number 5, accessory dwelling units. Who's leading this parade? I know that we asked to put it in here, but I remember Gina's concern, and it made sense to us, but tell us, somebody's got to be in charge of what we're trying to get out of this. What, Gina, help us, or Mario, whoever.
Again, I think the main point that Gina was trying to express last go around was the land use in your designation allows you X number of units per acre. And if your land is of sufficient size to have 2 units, then you would be allowed to have an accessory unit. No different than you are allowed to have a duplex. But if your land use does not allow 2 units to the lot, then this is not recommended, because then you would exceed the density of the property. So it's truly a density question, and I think the point that Gina's trying to make is you don't need an accessory structure because you're allowed to put duplexes on property that have sufficient density to put a duplex. So you don't have to call it an accessory unit. It just basically becomes a duplex on property that allows that level of density. So we could remove this definition of accessory structure, and people would still have the right to do it based on density.
Well, the confusing part to me is there's a difference between an accessory structure and an accessory dwelling unit.
Yeah, I'm sorry, accessory dwelling unit.
Oh, okay.
That missed the dwelling component.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's where the issue, that's where you're sort of.
Yeah, the issue is that the accessory dwelling unit is defined in the LDR as if it's something you can actually build, but you can't. You can't build it anywhere in the city.
That's correct.
You can only build it on properties where you could build a duplex. So
that's right. So why have it?
Why have it?
Okay. So under B, under accessory, anywhere that it addresses accessory dwelling units, we simply, Nikki, did you, from last meeting to this meeting, you understood where that conflict was?
Yeah, I recall it. And I mean, your 2 logical options here would be either delete all that language about accessory dwelling units, and these are the ones that have to be attached into your home when you're under the same roof. Either delete all that, or if you want to encourage those, you could allow them without treating them as 2 density units. But last meeting there wasn't really much support for something like that.
Well, you can have, Gina, instead of me trying to, what can you have? Instead of what you can't have, what can you have as far as an accessory dwelling unit? If it's under one roof.
You cannot have an accessory dwelling unit on any property in the city that doesn't allow you to have a duplex. If it meets density, then you can have it, which means you can have a duplex.
Only if this property's owned.
Correct. Correct. But again, you can't have an accessory dwelling unit in low density residential, and you also can't have a duplex there. So anywhere you can have a duplex, you can also have an accessory dwelling unit. And you're required to meet density for an accessory dwelling unit.
It's under one roof.
You can't, because in order to have an accessory dwelling unit, you have to meet density, which means your property has to be big enough to have 2 units. So therefore, you could have a duplex.
I kind of understand what you're saying, but to start all this off, somebody was wanting to build a duplex.
They were wanting to build an accessory dwelling unit.
But it in turn is a duplex.
No, it's an accessory dwelling unit as defined in the code, except for it doesn't meet density. And that's where the sticking point is. Is if it meets density, then it's a duplex. So either it doesn't have to meet density, or it doesn't really belong in LDR.
So then it's not an accessory dwelling unit. is a duplex.
It-
That's what I'm sitting at. Then, you don't even refer to that language, you don't even use the term accessory dwelling unit.
Right, either we don't need the
Yeah.
term or we need to allow it and not require it to meet density.
Yeah, it's actually,
That's right.
it's confusing to talk through, but when you look at the chart in the land development code that states prohibited and allowable uses, it's more clear. I mean, for residential low density, which is an area where you would expect someone to want to do one of these accessory dwelling units because they can't have duplex there, and you think, okay, you could probably, if you have a big enough lot, put one of these in residential low density. It's under our list of prohibited uses. Prohibited uses, the last one is accessory dwelling unit. So even if you have a big lot in residential low density, this is not allowed. But in general residential, you potentially could just build a duplex.
What's the easiest how does it best easily clarify? Because I understand, I fully understand what, from the last meeting on the request for the duplex and how that got, and when she brought it up, it makes sense to me that is confusing.
I think where everyone was leaning, but we didn't want to just make an assumption and draw up an ordinance based on that spur of the moment conversation.
Right.
I think folks were leaning towards deleting all the rules and languages about these accessory dwelling units, a special type where it has to be under the same roof, because it doesn't really seem like it's helpful, and it just confuses people. They think, oh, this is a good option to pursue, when either they could just do it as a duplex instead, or they can't do it at all. But it would take an ordinance to delete all that
Yeah.
language from the land development code.
So that would remove a person in residential low density from having a mother-in-law suite.
They can't have one.
They can't have one now.
That's right.
Already prohibited, regardless
That's
of the
right.
density and size of the lot.
Last question.
So you couldn't have an upstairs apartment, you couldn't have, in residential low density, you couldn't do any of that. It would be a single family home.
That's the way the code's currently written. And if you don't like that, we can reevaluate that as well. That's how it goes.
No, I think that was, well, from prior city wishes. There was only one time that got into contention, and then it got changed because of the 7th Street property that had 2 dwelling units, accessory dwelling units on it. One was a bathhouse and it got turned into an apartment, and the other was, for me, I think there should not be accessory dwelling units. No different than we thought that you shouldn't have an accessory camper dwelling unit. We don't refer to it as that, but it's the same thing. I mean, it says it already. It's just that in the wording of in the ordinance, it makes those references to accessory dwelling unit. So, I would be for changing it to, I guess, remove it.
That's what you reckon, right, Shane?
Whatever you guys
I
want.
understand what we would do. That would, it's either you
That
talk
makes it
and
clear.
Al talks and then so, I mean, I can see both sides, but that would make it easier for you, for us to understand if it was to take out the revenue side of it.
That is an option to clear it up.
Yeah, you've got.
I agree with that.
You got almost 2 pages in your land development code specifically about this one type of use that doesn't sound like it adds anything to just saying you can have a townhome in residential general.
I would be for removing it and make it just clear, just like Gina said. The way it's written, when people read that, they think, well, there must be a way to do it.
Yes, that's right. And it says it, so.
That's right.
It says it, but it don't say it. I think it's very confusing. How we got the word there?
We're gonna let Nick reword it, and if everybody's okay with that, just,
I'm hoping I don't have to reword anything, I'll just delete all the
oh,
language.
yeah, you can delete it. That's right.
We'll make sure that by deleting it.
And bring us something to the-
Kind of delete 2.0501 complete.
Yes, and there's references to this in the charts for allowable prohibited uses. They don't need to be there anymore if we don't have this as a type of development anymore. We'll just make sure that we're not creating another problem when we delete this, but I don't think we are. I think we can just delete the language and change nothing else.
And I want to say for those that will not like this, because and when I say that, I'm going back now, there was a considerable number of people before the storm that thought that they should be able to have their ailing mother or their ailing sister, that they should have them a place above their garage and blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying that was a big, they're not here today because they probably don't know what's going on, but there was a movement, for lack of a better word. This eliminates that in single family low density single family.
It's already eliminated. You can't do it right now anyway.
In low density.
In low density.
Low density.
Well, at one time, people were having guest rooms.
Yes.
Is that
That's
what
right.
terminology?
That was the term used. And remember, we got people ride around, see if they're renting it or they're not renting it, or they, remember all that mess we tried to
Just pay your taxes.
get involved in.
Yeah,
Okay.
not paying enough.
And a lot of that discussion was about units that were separate buildings.
That's exactly
This
right.
doesn't have anything to do with that.
That's right.
Because this type of accessory dwelling unit is all defined so that it would look like part of your house even though it's a separate unit.
Okay, if we're good, we'll just task him with bringing something.
I'm good with that.
Okay, fair enough?
Yep.
Okay. Number 6.
That'd be me.
That's you, yeah.
When we talked about this last meeting, I don't think we had all the information we needed to determine if we wanted to do this lease for $310,000. Our lease agreement with this company goes all the way to 2045. They can change it within every 5 years. They can drop it at whatever they want. If you look at the little chart I gave you or whatever, you realize how long it would take at 2045 on what you would get at $1,500 or whatever the increasement it would be. Kind of going back, we sold a piece of property, actually 2 pieces of property, a lot bigger than that, for $65,000. We would be getting $310,000 to basically doing the same thing we're doing now, where the city could use $310,000, a lot more than $1,700 a month, which would take a long time to get where we're at. And like I said, we actually are committed to 2045 on this agreement now. But the company can, I guess 3 years from now, just come out and say, forget it. Drop it.
The lease is set up, it's 5-year options. So the lease is 5 years with a 5-year option or a 5-year option or a 5-year option, but they're all up to the tenant's choice whether they want to accept it.
Right.
I'm basically looking at what we can do with $310,000 now. Basically keeping the same idea of what we have. And I really feel with the technology we got going on, they're gonna be getting the cell towers, cell phone, the satellites, and not the towers, and they're not gonna need it. But we still have $310,000 we can use something with it. So you're not changing anything as far as I see as far as what the city's commitments is. But we will be able to go ahead and get this money that can be utilized now where the time we need it.
Well, Bobby, does it, with the lease agreement, is there anything in there that we can deny them to, for example, 5G, which is still questionable, and a lot of people are saying 5G is really bad, a lot more issues with 5G. Could they go in there and put 5G on that tower under the lease agreement now, or would we have to agree that if they changed what type of usage it is?
I think they have broad discretion about the kind of technology as long as it's approved by the FCC.
And they're allowed to do 5G in the right of way.
With the small antennas you see in the right of way, the ones that are telephone pole size, those are usually 5G. There's none in Mexico Beach right now.
No, there's one right here at the end of 22nd Street.
Okay.
Okay.
Again, as I'm saying, $310,000 here right now, compared to $1,700 a month. I know in renting places out, unless you're very frugal with what you got, you get that rent money in, and it's spent before you know it, and you don't have anything for it. And we're committed anyway. So maybe I'm the only one that feels this way, but I can see again the $310,000.
Presenting this as recommending that the city
Yes.
reconsider and accept
Yes.
the money.
Yes.
That's what-
Yes. Because, again, I don't think when it came about, you didn't realize where we was at. And then I started looking at it and said,
Okay. Well, no one here, or I don't disagree that 310 is has a role in the city can use. I'm in 2033, the payout is about what it would be. That's 12 years down the road. And I do agree that there is some unknowns with what could happen. But one thing that's for certain is that if we accept that offer, it's literally in our backyard, it's on our tower, it's our tower space inside our yard, and I just don't want to give the control up for that. I just don't.
we got regate to 2045.
Well, no, give it to them if we agree. But it's still ours.
Will this still be ours too?
Not under that lease agreement, not under the agreement of, and that's basically like selling it to them. I mean, that's what you are doing. You're losing that. I just have a different mindset about what I think is more important than the $310,000.
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
We're gonna move our complex, right? Well, I mean, we got a new complex going back there.
What we're building back there is a sheriff's office, fire office, and the civic center. But this facility will stay right where it is. That tower will stay right where it is. So that this complex here will not change in any way, shape, fashion, or form. There is an additional tower that is going to the west of our complex, which is the radio tower that sheriff's office and all of EMS and fire will utilize. It's a separate technology that has to be separated.
Okay.
But that tower will remain, that tower is entitled to remain through 2045.
I agree. I don't understand it. I'm against it. I'm very easy myself with it, and I know we could use money, but they got, we do have a little control, not much, we do have some, and it's right here in our backyard. I'm not in favor of all of it, so I know how you feel about it, but I'm not. You can't tell them nothing if we on the easement or sell it, nothing. So I'm not in favor.
Well, I guess the only way to do is make a motion and final.
Well, we can, if others want to speak, or yeah, you can make a motion. Yes, sir. The floor is open.
I make a motion to accept $310,000 for the lease agreement.
All right, motion on the floor, is there a second? Motion dies for lack of second.
I get $310,000.
Okay. All right, next is city attorney report.
Nothing today, sir.
City administrator.
Mayor, you had asked when the landscape was going to get replaced on 98, and we had an email from the contractor yesterday basically saying that they would be out there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday replacing the palms and the oak trees. And they will start, the way that the seashore paspalum sod is put in is there's another grass that is utilized to create the mat that the grass grows through. So they basically have to herbicide out the other grass that creates the mat that supports the seashore paspalum. So it looks weedy, but that's the way that we've been told that seashore paspalum is planted.
Okay.
Can I ask you?
Yeah, whatever you got.
Have we had a whole lot of complaints about the oak trees. We got dead oak trees. Have we had any kind of discussion about maybe putting something different in the oak trees? I'm just saying because I've had a lot of comments about it. I don't really have I think the oak trees are great, personally.
It's alive. You want alive, but you don't get dead.
But I want a live stand up, not a dead stand up.
That's right.
They sourced additional oaks, so they will be getting replaced when they start.
But so they're not putting the same kind that they put out there.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Okay.
Alive, not dead.
Was it the dry conditions that were the problem?
It's a hard condition for any plant to get in there and get it established. I mean, the first 6 weeks were a great environment because we had rain every day for the first 2 or 3 weeks. But soon after that, we've had an 8-week drought.
Yeah,
with all the watering that they've done, that ground just sucks right up.
Yeah, trucks pulling that water out there and not have much water.
Yeah, a tree, when you plant a tree, you need to really keep it, you need to keep it wet. So they haven't discussed anything else that would grow better? Because, I mean, they're the ones that have to replace it, they got a 2-year guarantee, right?
Right. Well, because this is part of the DOT funded project, they've already approved the oaks.
Yeah.
We don't want to risk messing that up.
Going back to the DOT to do an alternate plant would be
Yeah, okay, well, if they die again, maybe that'd be something we have to consider.
That's right. They have to make that decision.
Yeah, okay.
Was anything ever decided about where the palm trees stop and they don't go all the way to the county line to Mexico Beach?
We have sufficient funds within the contingency to go ahead and add 12 palm trees. So we're going to add 12 palm trees that go from the current stopping point to the city limits.
Okay.
So within our project dollar figure, we'll get the 12 palm trees put in.
And that's all it takes to go on with
good at the farmer's place.
At the same space.
I looked at that for months and never come.
I just rode by it today. I just keep seeing it.
What else you got?
That is it.
That's it?
Yeah, again, I gave you the CDBG information,
Right,
which
okay.
is good information. And again, we did get the data for the sonar out in front of Mexico Beach. I have that. It's in my office and also in the conference room. You can look at it. There's about 82 pieces of some level of debris. We will take that information, take that to Fish and Wildlife, and submit that through Northwest Florida Water Management District for the second phase of the grant, which is to go out and remove that debris.
Glad you mentioned that. Thursday at 10:30. If your calendar's open, they're coming. Northwest Florida Water Management is coming here. Can we just meet in your office?
Certainly.
They called me to
Thursday at 10 o'clock?
10:30.
And I have a update that I have to give to them. Well, I really have to look at it. It's a 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock update that I have to give to them, and it's one day, either next week or the following week.
This is on updates. This is on updates. The meeting is on updates of projects that they are involved in for Mexico Beach. Okay. Council comments, Sherry? Anything?
I'm good.
You good? Darryl? Good. I'm good. Jerry?
One big, you know how I stayed on the street signs? I'm Stonewall. We have got to do something. And just like 30, all these streets had Stonewall. Mario, Mr. Gisby, I'd like to know where we stand. I'd like to know what we do, what direction we take, where we go with Stonewall. And we've been 2.5 years, and our little town is flooding away in places because we're waiting on stormwater or FEMA or whoever we're waiting on. I'd like to get an update, an immediate update of where we stand and what we got to do to push this issue forward. I know you can have it. I know you can. I done talked to David. I can be a thorn in your side now. So, I rode this town, I looked at daylight, we need to do it. Put it on your agenda, because the next council meeting, I want somebody to tell us what we're doing, where we go.
Well, let me listen. I want to piggyback on that. There was a time that we have, without a master stormwater drainage system, everything will be peachy. I don't think anything, any kind of grants, anything that I've heard mentioned, or do we have any updated master stormwater plan? To your knowledge, Dave, from Dewberry, from our side, I'm not aware of one either.
I found records in our files going back to 16, 17. I mentioned the ACOE, the Corps of Engineers, doing some kind of master plan, but I don't know where that went.
It is 18 months into a 3-month study that the Corps of Engineers is doing. That is a master stormwater program. That does not even kick off construction documents. That is strictly a feasibility study. It's underway. The master stormwater that we're going after through HMGP, NIFWIF, and the Corps is a $25 million project that will take years to implement. Right now, the Corps of Engineers is looking at the feasibility of it. Not even the design of it, just the feasibility of it.
Said what it was going to drain off into.
They're considering that option of draining towards the 85 acres, closing off the 8th Street Canal, whether it has a gate in it or not, whether it flows up to the intercoastal or not. That's the feasibility of it. But it is a master stormwater system that its footprint is 3 miles long and 1 mile wide.
We just had a study done on, we scoped out all the storm sewer for damage and stuff. We haven't heard anything on that.
Dewberry is doing the drawings for the repairs of the damaged stormwater.
Okay, so when is that gonna be available?
Well, the first part was the scope, and we created a damage report, and my understanding was it was gonna go to the state to determine what was covered. We had all kinds of different damages and stuff like that. And then the last conversation we had, I think about a month ago, was to go ahead and prepare the plans. But I need a little bit more direction because, so we've got so much varying of damage, you know, is the state gonna cover it? And the damage that the state won't cover, Mario said, just put it as an alternate bid, you can get pricing to change it. But for example, let's say I got a 100-foot section of pipe that spans 2 driveways, and we've got damage in 3 places. Do I replace the whole 100-foot section? Are they only going to cover us to cut out the bad part and join a pipe in there? Are we covering all the low-grade stuff that's got to get tore out to get to the pipe? I mean, a lot of questions that I still need some specific answers on before we can get the plan set.
So there's nothing that you have that we can look at and see.
Oh, we know where the bad. Yeah, we have a report that shows where the bad areas are.
With a map and all that stuff. How much do you think, based on what you've seen of it, is creating kind of some of the problems we have now? A lot of it, or?
I think the bigger part is probably the ditches, and I think y'all said you had a ditch bucket comments, so that might leave a lot of it. There's some pipe separation. There's some pipes that have root balls growing in that are clogging it. I think if you can get the ditches open and get it flowing, you'll probably alleviate half of what you got right now.
The main ditch that goes along forward, you've got a truck and some, the hole, that's something we got. That's when they stop up, it just backs everything up.
Yeah. So there's a 3x5 box culvert that runs down Florida Avenue, and based on the inspection of video cameras, the box itself, the concrete box itself, is not really damaged. However, there are rubber gaskets in between each section of box that are pushing out.
Yeah.
But that would just more or less allow water to come in, and with Jared was saying, create sinkholes at the top of the surface, because the water taking the floor with it when it flows into the box. But there's nothing stopping the water from flowing through the box.
If the water gets there.
Yeah.
That's always. Bobby, you got anything?
No.
Okay. Thank you everyone for coming. Motion for adjournment.
So moved.
All right.